How's it going, YouTube? Jamie the Kid 00 here, crumbling to requests again to bring you guys my take on Constellars. It was kind of like one of the mediumly requested decks, but since I've been doing quite a few decks of the new format, one of the kind of more up and coming requests recently has been the Constellar deck. A lot of people have been asking me for my take on it, and it isn't something that I've played that often, but it is something that I've seen played in its various forms. And I felt that I was confident enough that I could build my own version of it. I mean, I did test it before Sombre, so I took a lot of cues from my pre-Sombre build and applied them to this. I just thought I'd show you guys kind of my take on it. This is with very little testing, so I'll say that now. So the build might be a bit awkward, but you guys wanted to hear my thoughts, and I've built this in a very control slant variant. I tested a very aggressive build with a 3 engine in it as well, and it just didn't really work out as well as I hoped. It was a lot more inconsistent, so I felt that the control build like this was a lot more effective, and Pleiades is an incredibly strong control engine, and that coupled with an incredible back row is something to really be afraid of. So we're going to get into the list. This is a 40 card main deck, or at least it should be. It's fairly balanced for monsters, spells, and traps. So we're going to get into the Constellar part. We play 3 copies of Constellar Chaos, who's the big guy who gets us into our 5 plays. Long story short. Can make himself a 5, can make himself a 6, or can make other guys 5s and 6s. So he's pretty nice. Pretty nice. We then play 3 copies of Constellar Pollux. This guy is basically just like Evil Swarm Caster. His ruling is exactly the same as Evil Swarm Caster. When you summon this guy, he creates a condition where you're able to have an extra normal summon. This guy cannot be effect veilered. Pretty much the only way you can stop this guy's effect is if you negate his summon, or if skill drain is already face up on the field before he's summoned. Otherwise, his effect will stick. There are a few other exceptions, of course, but it's those kind of blanket effects. You basically cannot veiler him and respond to his effect. I then play 3 copies of Constellar Sombres. Sombre and its brother Cercion are, in my opinion, 2 of the best cards for the Xyz decks in the game. I'm going to have to move this over because I realised I was recording to one side. Sombre is incredible. Sombre is a 1 card, depending on the situations, is a 1 card Pleiades. And a 1 card Pleiades is absolutely broken in my opinion. Otherwise, it's basically a 1 card way into anything in your extra deck if you happen to have 2 Constellars in grave. It's really, really powerful. I absolutely love the card, and it's the reason why I still consider playing the deck today, and it's the reason why I still own all the cards for the deck. And then finally, the final 2 Constellars I play are 2 copies of Constellar Algidi. I was trialing 1 Algidi, but now I've seen that Veilers are seeing a slight decrease in the metagame in favour of Maxis, and while I understand that Maxi can also respond to Algidi, the Maxi is a lot less damaging compared to Effect Veiler versus it. So I'm confident enough to go back up to 2. But I definitely wouldn't play Algidi at 3. Then for the non-Constellar stuff, I play 1 Bear, just because Bear is really good for spot removal. When you have your Tenki, it's just a great way to get into removal if you don't have it. And it's a great card in the grind. The 1 Thunder King Ryo, because opening this or having it coupled with a big Xyz is incredibly powerful. And just because it's a 1 doesn't mean you shouldn't run it. And then I play the 1 Honest, because Honest is incredibly powerful in this deck for obvious reasons. And then to kind of add to the control aspect, I play double Effect Veiler and double Maxi. These are in here to stop all the fast decks, all the combo decks from just overrunning you, because that is a big problem for this deck, just the overrun, especially when you don't have your Pleiades or your responses to things, like your kind of lockdown cards. You're going to have a hard time, so the double Veiler, double Maxi is in there to kind of help you in those situations. So we'll pick those up and move them aside. Then for the spells, we play 1 Dark Hole, 1 Book of Moon, 1 Reinforcement of the Army for our base 1-offs. Then for our 2-offs, we play 2 Tenki, because Tenki is at 2, sadly. Just to search our Chaos and to get to our Bear if we need it. 2 Part of Duality. I couldn't find room for the 3rd. The 3rd is definitely an option, but 2 is good. 2 Duality, 2 Lance. Against back row heavy decks, you kind of have trouble. And then against the this is, I'm playing 2 Lance, 2 Space. But the reason why I opted to play a Lance instead of the 3rd MST is because against not very low back row count decks, Lance is better than MST because Lance has the battle application, whereas MST is almost completely dead against certain dragon variants. So I felt that the 2 Lance and the 2 MST kept the deck kind of as generic and as variable as possible, in my opinion. So I might be completely wrong, but I felt that was the most consistent spell lineup. Then the traps are fairly powerful, fairly standard. It's just a control lineup to the max. I'm playing 2 Vanity's Emptiness. Vanity's Emptiness coupled with Pleiades or just any big Xyz is broken, so the Vanity's Emptiness is in here. It shuts down so many players, and because dragons are so big at the moment, and to be fair, so are mermails, this card just really can wreck them. I mean, even if it's just flipped and is then summarily destroyed later on, it's still disrupted your opponent's play once and caused them to usually go minus, especially if this is used against mermails. So, Vanity's Emptiness. I then played 2 Fiendish Chain. I felt that the third was unnecessary because of the Veiler in the main, so that's kind of the explanation for the lack of the third. Fiendish Chain is just such an incredibly powerful card at the moment, and I keep talking about it, but it's the heart and soul of the deck. Pleiades is a card that can manipulate and abuse this card by recycling it, so that's always the thing. I then play 2D Prison. I'm playing the 2D Prison, well, I'm opting to play the 2D Prison over the 2 Mirror Force, because Stardust Dragon and anti-destruction effects are all the rage right now, and I felt that having that kind of removal... so Stardust Dragon and Dracosac are 2 huge cards at the moment, and I felt that having that kind of much harder to kill removal is a lot more useful at the moment. So I might be wrong, but there hasn't really been a situation in which I would have preferred Mirror Force over the Dimensional Prison. So it is what it is. And then I play 5 one-offs in the form of 1 Xyz Reborn. Xyz Reborn, of course, for the obvious reasons of bringing back the many Xyzes we're going to be making in this deck. The 1 Compulsory Evacuation Device, because there's a 1. The 1 Bottomless Trap Hole. The 1 Torrential Tribute, and the 1 Solemn Warning. Which should bring us off, if my math was correct when I built this, to a 40-card main deck. I must say before we move into the extra deck, there will be no side deck in this video. The side deck, if I choose to put one, will be in the description below, so you can go check that out. But as I've said in earlier videos, and in the comments down below them, I do not like producing side deck videos because the meta changes so often, and side decks are tailored to my individual playstyle and will usually not work for other players. So that's the reason why I don't like doing side decks, because it's irrelevant to you guys. Because they differ. I build side decks for my meta, for the local meta, which will be wrong for yours. So we're going to start off with the Constellar component. So we play 1 Constellar Omega. I don't feel the need for the second. A lot of people say about the second, but I've never needed it. The same goes for 1 Constellar Precept or Constellar Beehive. I don't need the second version of this. Like, I have all the other generic Xyzes that can fulfill his role, like Paladynamo and things like that. So I feel that Precept is a good one-off, but I don't feel the need for any more than that. 2 Pleiades. While I understand that Pleiades is one of the best cards in the deck, I've had one situation where I needed a third, or would have liked a third, but I was able to go into Volcasaurus and achieve the same effect. So Pleiades is fine at 2. 3 really will clog, so that's my 2 cents on that. And then Ptolemy M7. I would gladly play this at 2, but sadly it's gone to 1, so it is what it is. So that's the Constellar component. For the 4s, we play 1 Abyss Dweller for the Mermail, and for the Mermail matchup and against certain dragon situations, the 1 Gaga Cowboy for obvious reasons, the 1 Maestroke for obvious reasons, the 1 Starliege Paladynamo because you're playing a deck of mostly lights, and this card is so broken against so many situations, the 1 Diamond Direwolf. I originally didn't play this because I had this, but there were situations where I had the bear, and I didn't have another light. I had like a light and a bear, and I couldn't make this to remove something, so I made this. And this also gives me an out to all the decrees and things like that. It's just like a summonable out to any card, so I like that. The 1 Digusto Emerald, because eventually you do run out of Xyzes, you do run out of certain plays, it's nice to put stuff back. Especially against like the Dragon matchup where you can put back your Maxis and things like that. It's just really nice. And then the final 4 I play is 1 Evil Swarm Ouroboros, because Shockmaster is gone, but Ouroboros is still is a really, really powerful card. You can get some really good locks down with Ouroboros and like Vanity's Emptiness. Ouroboros and back row is really powerful, so that's the thing. And then for the 5s, I play 1 Tyrus and 1 Volcasaurus, and then the final card is 1 Gaia Dragon the Thundercharger. Because you can overlay over these 2 guys, like for the infamous Volcasaurus play, or you can overlay it over Pleiades or M7, or it's just, you can do fun things with it. So, yeah, this has been, I must apologise, this has been a bit of a half-asleep deck profile. I've been recording this on low sleep, but I hope you guys have enjoyed this. I hope you've gathered a little bit of insight, because I know a lot of you have been asking for this list. I really, like, my last comment on my inbox was, can you do a Constellar deck profile at time of recording? So I hope this has satisfied your hunger for Constellars. And otherwise, yeah, I'll see you guys next time with some more Yu-Gi-Oh! Related content. This has been Jamie the Kid 00. Peace out.